At my own party, my wife brought her ex and gave him an ultimatum. Be comfortable, or leave forever. I pretended to agree, welcomed him as a guest, and then, with one decision, turned her perfect evening into a disaster. The moment I realized I was done, there was no anger left, just clarity. The kind that doesn't argue, doesn't hesitate. It just moves. Julian blinked at me, caught mid-handshake energy like he'd walked into something already in motion. Karen's voice sharpened behind me, just enough to sound controlled. Alex, don't do this. I didn't raise mine, didn't need to. You wanted him here, I said, glancing between them like I was closing out a meeting. He's here. There was a pause, small but heavy. The kind where people start to notice something's off without knowing what yet. Karen stepped closer, lowering her voice. You're embarrassing me. That word, not hurting me. Not what are you doing, just embarrassing me. Something almost smiled inside my head. I slipped my jacket on, slow, deliberate. No, I said. I'm being cool. Julian let out a nervous half-laugh. Hey, man, if this is weird, I can just... It's not weird. I cut in, still calm. You were invited. You should stay. I gave him a firm nod, like we were aligned on something. She really wanted you here. Karen's eyes flicked to me, sharp now, a warning, not concern, control slipping. Alex, she said again, quieter this time. Stop. But I was already stepping past them. The living room buzzed. Music, laughter, glasses clinking. Ben caught my eye from across the kitchen island, raised his drink like, this is sick, man. He had no idea. Nobody did. That's what made it clean. I walked straight through it all, through the warm amber lights I programmed, past the playlist I timed down to the minute, past the digital panels shifting landscapes like nothing was wrong. Everything working exactly as designed, except one thing. At the door, I paused just long enough to feel it, the shift behind me. Conversations dipping. Karen's voice low and tight, trying to pull things back into place. Julian standing there not knowing where to look. A system trying to stabilize after a fault. I opened the door. Cold night air hit different when you weren't coming back. Alex, she called. Not loud, but urgent now. I didn't turn around. Seriously, what is this? You're just going to leave? I stepped into the hallway, the music dulling behind me. You told me to be cool, I said over my shoulder. This is me being cool. And then I walked. Down the stairs, out of the building. No rush, no hesitation. Just forward. My phone buzzed before I even hit the sidewalk. Karen, I let it ring. Then again, and again. By the time I reached my car, there were 3 missed calls. A text popped up. Karen, are you serious right now? Get back here. I unlocked the door, slid into the driver's seat, and just sat there for a second. Hands on the wheel, breathing steady. Another text. Karen, people are asking where you are. Of course they were. Another. Karen, this is insane. We need to talk. I stared at that one a little longer. We need to talk, now. After the line had already been drawn, I put the key in the ignition but didn't start the engine yet. Just watched the building through the windshield. 3rd floor, our windows, warm light spilling out, silhouettes moving, my party, still running. For now. Another buzz. Karen, if you don't come back right now, don't bother coming back at all. There it was. The same line. Different phrasing. Ultimatums were her language. I leaned back against the seat, exhaled slowly. Then I typed. Not fast, not emotional, just precise. Me. You already made that call on Tuesday. 3 dots appeared almost instantly. Disappeared. Then came back. I didn't wait to read whatever she was about to send. I started the car. As I pulled away from the curb, my phone lit up again. Call this time. her name filling the screen. I declined it. The street stretched out ahead of me, quiet, empty, clean lines, no noise. Behind me, somewhere above, a party was still trying to pretend nothing had changed, but the structure was already compromised, and I was the one who designed it. So I knew exactly how it was going to fall. The second I cut the signal, I knew there was no fixing it. Not the party, not us. This wasn't damage control anymore, this was demolition. "She's all yours, man," I said, meeting Julian's eyes just long enough for it to land. "I'm heading out." "Leaving?" Karen's voice snapped, sharp and low. "Alex, get back here." I didn't slow down. Behind me, I heard movement. Ben's voice, closer now. "Yo, what the hell was that?" We hit the hallway, the door still open behind us, music spilling out like nothing had happened yet. "It's over," I said, already walking toward the elevator. Ben blinked, processing. "Wait, what? Over? Over?" "She gave me an ultimatum," I said. "I took it." He glanced back toward the apartment, where laughter still floated out, unaware. "Dude, your party." "Not my party," I said. "Not my problem." Will caught up just as the elevator doors opened. He didn't ask questions. He just looked at me, read it, and stepped in. The doors slid shut. For a second, it was quiet. Just the hum of the elevator descending. Then I pulled out my phone, opened Aura, scrolled past the lighting controls, the playlists, the display configs, straight to the bottom. To something I'd written years ago as a joke, a failsafe, a kill switch. Ben leaned over slightly. "What are you doing?" I tapped the script. "Being cool." Back upstairs, the system obeyed instantly. Ben told me later it hit in layers. First, the music. Just gone. Mid-beat. Like someone yanked the cord out of the wall. Then the lights. All 32 bulbs snapped from warm amber to full intensity white. Not cozy, not flattering. Clinical. Brutal. The kind of lighting that shows everything you don't want seen. Conversations died mid-sentence. People blinked. Then the display's 3 massive panels cut to black. No transition, no fade. Just dead. 30 people standing in a suddenly sterile, silent box. Karen apparently went straight for the wall panel, tapping, swiping, trying to regain control. Nothing responded. It was all just plastic now. Julian looked around, hands half raised like he didn't know where to stand. "Whoa," he said. "That's weird." That was the moment it cracked. My coworkers, sharp, socially aware, did the math instantly. "Oh wow, I just realized I have an early meeting." "Yeah, same, gotta bounce." "Hey, text me about Monday, alright?" Excuses layered over each other, polite but fast. Jackets grabbed, drinks abandoned. No one made a scene. They just exited. Efficient. Within 10 minutes, every single person I knew was gone. What was left? Karen, Julian, 4 of her friends, and a mountain of expensive catering cooling under harsh white light. No music, no warmth, no illusion. My phone started buzzing before we even hit the lobby. "Karen, call, declined. Text. Karen, turn it back on. Now." Another. Karen, "Alex, what the hell is wrong with you?" Another. Karen, "You ruined everything." I waited until we were outside, cool air hitting my face before I responded. Just one message. Me. "You told me to be cool or it's over." "I chose over. Have your things out by the end of the month." Then I blocked her. No follow-up, no debate. We went for whiskey. Real whiskey. Quiet bar. No playlists. No performance. Just Ben, Will, and the kind of silence that doesn't need to be filled. The fallout didn't wait. By the next morning, my phone, on Do Not Disturb, was stacked with notifications. Unknown numbers, paragraph texts. I skimmed one from Alana, her best friend. "Alana, Karen is crying, you're a monster." Another. Alana, you destroyed your relationship over one guy. That's insane. And then, Alana, at least turn her internet back on. She can't even watch TV. I almost laughed. Aura didn't just run lights and music. It was the backbone. Server, router, firewall, everything flowed through it. When I shut it down, I shut everything down. The apartment was just walls. I ignored them. Spent the weekend at Ben's. Pizza, old video games, no conversations we didn't want to have. But Monday came, and reality with it. I unblocked Karen. Temporarily, kept it clean. Me. This is not a discussion. The relationship is over. You need to be out by the 31st. Let me know your move-out plan. The response came fast. Karen, are you serious? You're kicking me out over a party? After 2 years? Me. You don't live here. You were living with me. That's over. Pause. Then, Karen, you're a psychopath. You planned this. I stared at that for a second, then typed. Me. Telling you I'd be cool and then leaving when you disrespected me isn't a trick. It's a boundary. You have 26 days? Dots. Gone. Then, Karen, I'm not leaving. This is my home. You'll have to evict me. There it was. The bluff. Except I don't bluff. Later that afternoon, her mom called. Daria. I almost didn't answer. Almost. Alex, she started, voice already heavy with disappointment. I just spoke to Karen. She's a wreck. I said nothing. You're a grown man, she continued. And you threw a tantrum. I expected better. I leaned back in my chair. She gave me an ultimatum, accept her ex or it's over. I accepted. A small scoff. Oh, don't be so literal. She was emotional. You know how she is. I did. That was the problem. She's not homeless, I said evenly. She's still in the apartment, rent-free, no bills. A pause. I added almost casually, and she's not alone. Silence sharpened on the other end. What do you mean? I let it hang just long enough. I stopped by yesterday, I said. Saw a jacket on the couch, not mine. Another pause. Longer this time. Because now the story she'd been told didn't line up. And for the first time, someone else was starting to notice the crack. The second she tried to take the locks, I understood something ugly. This wasn't denial anymore, this was strategy. And she thought I wouldn't see it coming. I don't owe her anything, I said, cutting Daria off mid-plea. She has until the 31st. That's the law. Goodbye. I hung up before she could soften it again, before she could turn it into something emotional instead of what it was. Control, slipping. Wednesday morning, my phone rang. Frank? Building manager? I answered immediately. Hey, Alex, got a weird one, he said, voice cautious. We had a request from your unit, from Karen. I didn't speak, just waited. She said you abandoned the apartment, that you're unstable, that she's scared you might come back. She asked us to change the locks. For a second, everything in me went cold. Not anger, not shock. Calculation. She asked you to lock me out of my own place, I said. Yeah, Frank exhaled. Which didn't sit right. It shouldn't, I said, sharper now. I'm the sole leaseholder. You know that. She's not on anything. She's refusing to leave, and now she's trying to claim tenant rights. A pause, then quieter. And she's got someone else staying there, unauthorized. Frank sighed. That's what I figured. Look, I'm not changing any locks. I can't. But Alex, this is getting messy. You need to get ahead of it. I already am. And I was. No emoji. Just steps. Step 1. Process server. $150. Clean, official, undeniable. Karen got handed a 30-day notice to quit. Not a text, not a threat. A document. Clock started ticking the second it hit her hand. Step 2. I needed my assets out. Not later, not after. Now. I texted her. Me. I'll be there tomorrow at 10 a.m. with a police civil standby to retrieve my property. You're required to let me in. No response. Of course. Friday, 9:55 a.m. lobby. 2 officers waiting. You Alex? One asked. Yeah. All right, let's keep it simple. We rode up together. No small talk. At the door, I used my key. It stopped. Deadbolt. From the inside. Of course. The officer knocked firm, practiced. Ma'am, police, you need to open the door. Leaseholder is here for property retrieval. Silence, then movement, then the click. The door cracked open. Karen stood there in my bathrobe. Hair a mess, eyes wide, not from fear but from being cornered. And behind her, Julian, on my couch, shirtless, like he'd already settled in. The shift in my chest was instant, not rage, disgust. You can't just barge in here, she snapped, voice pitching high. The female officer didn't even blink. Ma'am, he's on the lease. You're not. He has every right to be here. We're just making sure this stays civil. Karen's mouth opened, closed. Julian stood up like he was about to contribute something meaningful. Hey man, this isn't cool, he said. This is our place now. I looked at him, really looked at him. Is your name on the lease? I asked. He hesitated. Did you pay the $4,200 rent check last week? Nothing. Then sit down, I said, flat. Before you end up on the paperwork, too. He sat, fast. Ben and Will stepped in behind me. Silent, present. Witnesses. I didn't waste time. Hall closet. Opened it. My server rack sat there, humming. Last thing in that apartment still doing its job. I started unplugging cables, one by one, clean, methodical. Karen stepped closer, voice thinner now. You're taking that? I didn't look at her. Yeah. The lights, nothing's going to work. You'll find the switches, I said. They're on the walls. Ben almost smiled. We moved to the desk, my workstation, custom-built tower. Months of work. $5,000 in components alone. Will started disconnecting it carefully. You can't take that, Karen said louder now. I use it. You have a laptop. That's not the same. Exactly, I said. Kitchen next, my espresso machine. $900 of stainless steel and routine. I unplugged it. Alex, no, she started, voice cracking now. That's ours. I paused, looked at her. Receipt says otherwise. Then the bar card. This one I took my time with. Bottle by bottle, tequila, rye, gin, scotch. Julian shifted on the couch, watching like it physically hurt him. Dude, not the booze. I picked up a bottle of single malt, held it up, met his eyes, then placed it in the box. No rush, no emotzi, just removal. 15 minutes. That's all it took. 15 minutes to strip everything I built out of that place. When I turned toward the door, Karen was finally crying. Not loud, not dramatic, just leaking. You're so petty, she said. This is stealing. This is cruel. I stopped. Looked at her one last time. No, I said. This is mine. I held up the notice. You got this, right? She didn't answer. You have 28 days left, I continued. After that, it's the sheriff. He won't be as patient. Then I left. Again. This time, the apartment behind me wasn't just quiet. It was hollow. No lights, no system, no comfort. Just walls. And consequences. 3 months later, people think it ends clean. It doesn't. It drags. Paperwork, filings, fees, waiting. Karen didn't leave at 30 days. Of course she didn't. A week before the deadline, Daria called again. Different tone this time, not angry, worried. Alex, you can't really do this, she said. If she gets evicted, that's permanent. It'll ruin her life. I leaned back, phone pressed to my ear, staring at nothing. She's had 30 days, I said. A pause, then softer. She didn't think you'd actually go through with it. By the time it ended, there was nothing left to argue about, only consequences still catching up. And they were moving slower than anger, but they were a lot heavier. Daria, I said, cutting through her last attempt to soften it. She's an adult. Her choices have consequences. A pause. Then she shifted tactics. But Julian left, she said, quieter now. He just left her. She's alone. She can't afford a deposit. She doesn't have savings. Of course he left. The second the lights went out, the tech disappeared, the free ride ended. So did he. Predictable. That's not my problem, I said. She's not my girlfriend. She's a squatter in my apartment. The 30 days are up Friday. If she's still there, I file. Her voice hardened. You bastard, after everything she did for you. What exactly did she do for me? I asked. Silence. Besides this? I hung up. Friday came. Ben and I stopped by after work. Her car was there. Lights off inside. Door locked from the inside again. She wasn't leaving, no surprise. Just confirmation. Monday morning, I was in a lawyer's office. This is the part no one glamorizes. No dramatic speeches, no instant justice. Just paperwork. Fees. Time. $500 for the retainer. He filed the unlawful detainer. I paid money to get my own place back. Weeks passed. Court date set. Karen didn't show. Default judgment? Then another wait. 5 days for the sheriff's notice to vacate. 45 days total after the original deadline. 45 days of me on Ben's couch. Still paying full rent on an apartment I couldn't step into. The day the sheriff came, everything felt already decided. 2 deputies, the landlord, me. We knocked, no answer. They knocked harder. Sheriff's office, final notice. Movement inside, then yelling, you can't do this. This is my home. The door opened and there she was. Eyes red, voice breaking, but still trying to hold ground that wasn't hers. One of the deputies didn't even look up from his clipboard. Ma'am, you have 15 minutes to collect essentials. The rest goes to the curb. That's when she lost it. Full collapse. Screaming, crying, on the floor. You're a psycho, Alex. You're obsessed with me. I didn't respond, didn't move, didn't need to. They physically escorted her out. No more arguments, no more ultimatums. Just removal. Then came the walkthrough. And that's where it shifted again. Because what they left behind wasn't just mess. It was intent. The hardwood floors, deep gouges, long and deliberate. Not accidental. Carved. The couch, my $4,000 couch, soaked in red wine, stains set deep into the fabric. Destroyed. The digital displays smashed. Screens spiderwebbed, panels hanging. In the kitchen, the sink, completely clogged. Flour and coffee grounds turned into something like concrete inside the pipes. This wasn't carelessness, this was punishment. The landlord's guy walked through shaking his head. You're looking at around 11 grand in damages. I just stood there. Still. Cold. On the counter, under a greasy takeout bag, was a note. I picked it up. Hope it was worth it, you psycho. You ruined my life, so I ruined your sanctuary. You'll die alone. I read it once, then folded it carefully. That note was worth more than anything she destroyed. After that, it wasn't emotional anymore. It was systematic. The landlord used my deposit, then went after her. And John Doe, Julian, for the rest. I filed separately. Photos from the party, clean, intact apartment. Photos from the walkthrough, damage everywhere. Receipts, sofa, legal fees, everything, small claims. Max amount, $10,000. She got served again, at her mom's house, of course. Court was last week. She showed up this time, with Daria. She tried to cry first. Your Honor, he's abusive. He locked me out. He stalked me. He turned off my heat. The heat is gas, I said calmly. It was never off. The judge didn't even look at me, just flipped through the file. Ma'am, he said, flat, I have the unlawful detainer judgment here. You were removed by the sheriff. Let's talk about the damages. Karen shifted. It was already like that, she said quickly. He's just trying to get money from me. He's rich. He's an architect. I have nothing. I stood. Your Honor, I said, placing the folder down. These are time-stamped photos from the night of the party. This is the apartment before. Then the next set. This is after the sheriff's removal. Then the receipt. Sofa. And finally, the note. I slid it across. The judge read it, paused, looked up. I ruined your sanctuary, he read aloud. Ma'am, did you write this? Karen didn't answer. She didn't need to. Her face did it for her. Judgment, $10,000, full amount. The fallout, not dramatic, just permanent. Eviction on her record, judgment on her credit. She's back in her childhood bedroom. Julian got named in both cases. Unauthorized occupant, party to damages. Last I heard, he left town. Quietly. And me? I lost money. Time. A couch. A system I built from scratch. I didn't rebuild Aura, didn't want to. I swapped everything out for dumb bulbs. Switches on the wall, simple. Quiet. No automation, no illusions. It wasn't a clean win, it was slow, expensive, frustrating, but it was final. She thought she had leverage. Thought I'd fold. Thought I'd stay, negotiate, compromise, prove something. She wanted to see if I'd blink. I didn't. And once she realized that, it was already too late.